After a pretty rocky start under the Trump administration, Ukraine and the U.S. have now agreed to an economic partnership.
It's time for this cruel and senseless war to end. The killing must stop, and both the United States and the government of Ukraine look forward to quickly operationalizing this historic economic partnership.
So that was the U.S. Treasury Secretary. So last week, as we know, both countries signed this deal that will grant the U.S. access to potential wealth from Ukraine's rare earth minerals. This is in exchange for future U.S. support. While the deal does not guarantee Ukrainian security, it does signal a new economic interest for the U.S. For more on what all of this means, I'm joined by retired Major General Dennis Thompson, former force commander of the multinational force and observers from 2014 to 2017 in the Sinai. Good morning.
Good morning, Lindsay.
President Zelensky did not get guaranteed security from the U.S., which was his main priority. So why did he agree to this?
Well, I think this landmark agreement was still important to the Ukraine because essentially it links the Ukraine to the United States, gives the United States an economic interest inside of Ukraine. And although it's not, as you say, a security guarantee, it certainly reoriented the United States in a positive light towards Ukraine. It's also worth noting that after this agreement was signed, Mr. Trump, in his first effort ever since he was brought into office, has signed off on $50 million more of military aid. Not a big number, but at least it's a start.
Yeah, because when you think about, under former President Joe Biden, the U.S.-Ukraine relationship was more of an alliance, it's, described as that way. And now it seems more transactional. So what are the two countries going to get from each other?
Well, it appears that the agreement has a jointly managed reconstruction and investment fund that they're going to split 50-50. The United States gets a 50% stake in all future resource extraction inside of Ukraine, as you mentioned, the rare earth minerals, but not just rare earth minerals, any resources, any new resource projects that are taken on by Ukraine will be split 50-50 with the United States. The obligation for Ukraine to put that money into this reconstruction and investment fund only makes sense to me. What else are they going to spend their money on once the war is over? They need to rebuild their country. And the interesting thing is, in the agreement, there are statements like the United States wishes to see a free, sovereign, and prosperous Ukraine. That's important because that's not the language they were using previously.
Right. This deal seems to be a bit of a reset of the relationship between the U.S. and Ukraine under the Trump administration. Do you think that could transition into military support?
Well, they already receive military support. The most important thing that Ukraine gets from the United States is actionable intelligence that they can use to target Russian assets off either inside of Russia or inside of Ukraine. The most critical support that the U.S. provides to Ukraine is in the form of this actionable intelligence I mentioned, but also Patriot missile interceptors. And it was announced this weekend that the U.S. plans to pull one Patriot battery out of Israel, recondition it and send it to Ukraine. And there's talk of another one coming from either Germany or Greece. So those are important contributions on the warfare front. And finally, of course, if the U.S. were to pull out, then Ukraine would not be able to replace the capabilities provided by two systems that are long-range precision fires named HIMARS and ATACMS. Without getting into the technical details, they're important, not critical, but important to the Ukrainian war effort.
Are we seeing a shift in tone when it comes to how the U.S. is talking about Russia at this point?
It's difficult to say. We see a change in tone almost daily from the U.S. administration. So I would like to say that I'm cautiously optimistic, but then again, Mr. Trump has shown the ability to change his mind on a whim, just as he's done with our own, the second version of the North American Free Trade Agreement, or the CUMSA, as we would call it, which he dumped in a heartbeat. And now Mr. Carney's going to have his work cut out for him when he gets to Washington. So would he do the same thing with Ukraine? Who knows? Nobody really can predict which direction the current United States administration will take.
Very true. Retired Major General Dennis Thompson, thanks for your time.
Thank you, Lindsay. Have a good day.
You as well.
If you like that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.